るざますよ。行くでガンス。うんがまともに始めなさいよ。
Hey, now you're a man.
Now you're a
man. A man. You are now a man. You're a man.
ナンパス。
Now you're a
お
man.
兄ちゃん。お兄ちゃん。お兄ちゃん。お姉ちゃん。お兄ちゃんの変態。
Live it. What makes a man? Is it the woman in his
This is manly anime for manly men. It's not for girls, and it's not about cartoons, Dad. I'm Jack, and I'm here with my co-host, as always, Nathaniel.
What's
Nathaniel,
up,
how you
guys?
doing?
Oh, about as well as can be expected.
Yeah, that's fair. We're still 3D. We're not 2D anime girls yet, as far as I can tell. So one day we'll get there.
One of the great disappointments of this year, for sure.
Yeah. One of the only ones. All right. On this episode, we're talking about Kiniro Mosaic, Golden Mosaic, I believe it means, which is a show about girl Shinobu who previously went to stay at a home in England with a girl named Alice Cartlett. And then now that she's in high school, Alice has come to Japan to find her again and transferred to her school. That's what it's about. I've seen it. You've seen a part of it.
Yeah, I've seen 3 episodes, and then it got buried in my watch list. So I'm excited to get back into this one and get it off the watch list because I enjoyed the 3 episodes that I saw.
Okay, yeah, that was the next question I was going to ask. How did it strike you upon seeing those 3 episodes?
Cute Japanese girls speaking English. It's always a fun time.
Yeah. Well, Kiniro Mosaic is interesting in that Alice is an English girl played by a Japanese woman,
Right,
and so
right.
she speaks English in a Japanese and British accent at the same time, which is very interesting to hear. Yeah, I have to say one thing I did like about Kiniro Mosaic is I remember the first episode of it is almost an anime in itself.
Yes.
If you remember that, because
Yes.
it's just it's the flashback of her going to stay in England, and so that by itself is its own complete story that I think set up the rest of the show really well. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, that's what I remember as well.
So, but honestly, I don't remember a whole lot about the rest of it.
Okay.
So we'll see. I remember a couple characters here and there. I remember Karen in her cool Union Jack coat.
Yes.
Yep. And that one screenshot of her saying, I'll become a samurai if I become Japanese enough.
Yes, that is a very good one.
Yeah. And then there's a meme about her with the ayaya scene. Those are the big hits. I do remember a couple things, but it definitely not as much. So I'll be curious to get back into it.
Yeah. I mean, I only remember good things about it myself. It's got a nice, bright, vivid color palette, appealing character designs, light, funny humor.
Yeah. Everything you want in a slice of life sort of show. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have seen the show. But first, before we do that, let's talk about lesser shows for lesser men. The segment where we quickly recommend or condemn an anime that we wouldn't have normally talked about on this show. Nathaniel, what do you got?
My lesser show for this week is Afro Samurai and its companion movie Afro Samurai Resurrection. And if you're not familiar, it's based on a fusion of Japanese samurai stories mixed together with elements of hip-hop and Black American culture in a somewhat similar way to Samurai Champloo. And it's very loosely based on an actual historical samurai who, God knows how, back in the Edo period, got from Africa to Japan and became a samurai that way.
Yeah, that's always an interesting tidbit to me. It's like, I don't know how this dude did that exactly.
Right.
It's cool though. Like, I'm glad he exists. He's a neat figure.
I'm assuming it had something to do with the Dutch, but
I imagine so. Yeah, it usually does.
And so it's basically the story is in the original show, the story is that Afro Samurai, which is the actual name of his character, is his father is killed, and he is on a quest for vengeance. And the basic setup is that there are 2 headbands in the world. The number 1 headband, the wearer of it can only be challenged by the number 2, and the number 2 has the right to challenge the number 1, but the consequence of that is that he can be challenged by anyone else who then takes the number 2 headband. And Afro Samurai has the number 2 headband, and he goes on a quest to avenge his father's death. And so it's it's a pretty paper thin plot. It's very all style, no substance, and that is not a criticism because I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And the movie is somewhat more of the same. He's retired and at peace, but then he gets dragged back into the game again because of various circumstances.
As always seems to happen to people who are retired killers at peace. They always seem to get dragged back in for one last job.
Right. Yeah, it's almost if you go around killing people for a living that has some sort of effect on your life, even if you try to give it up or something.
Yeah, weird, huh? Who would have thought?
But yeah, if you like old OVAs, like Violence Jack, that are just complete over the top violence, more blood spurting anywhere that could reasonably fit in a human body, all that sort of stuff. It's along the same lines. It feels like a real tribute to that part of the OVA culture of the late 80s and early 90s.
Awesome.
And so I highly recommend it.
All right. Well, that sounds great.
And also, Afro Samurai and his companion Ninja are both voiced by Samuel L. Jackson, which is exactly as important. Great as it sounds.
Yeah, that's important to the overall show, I think.
And the voice acting overall is fantastic. I recommend the English version. I'm not actually even sure if there was a Japanese dub, because they've got all these A-list actors in the English version. Samuel L. Jackson, Ron Perlman, Lucy Liu.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I mean, I once again, I could completely be wrong, but I haven't seen a Japanese version.
Yes, I remember.
I
remember looking it up and finding that there wasn't a Japanese version, because I normally watch that first, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense if you've got this voice casting for the American for the English version, you know?
Yeah. All right, well, that sounds great. Going in a completely different direction for my suggestion, I'm suggesting Kakushigoto, which is a title that means a couple different things. It's a pun, which those Japanese puns, they're always very translatable. In this case, Kakushigoto can mean like a secret or an art job, like drawing for a living. And that's what the show is about. It's about a guy whose name is Kakushigoto, and he has a daughter whose name is Himegoto, which can also mean secret. Kakushi is a manga artist,
Okay.
but is largely famous for like dirty joke manga. Because he is so completely embarrassed about the idea of his daughter ever finding out that he writes dirty joke manga, he tells her that he's a salaryman and goes to like massive, crazy like lengths to make sure that she never finds out that what he actually does. Such as like he leaves the house while wearing a suit and then partway through changes from a suit into his like pajamas before he gets to his his studio, and they have like drills just in case Hime like shows up for some reason, and all of these crazy things, and there's a lot of like puns and wordplay as well. It's made by the same person who made Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei.
Ah, excellent.
Yes, and it still has that very like it looks the same. Like the characters are very similar, and even a couple of them are specifically like references to characters from Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. Some of Hime's friends are the same designs basically.
Does it have a similar style of humor to Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei?
Definitely, it's definitely a little different in that like Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei was all like this series of like puns and got very dark sometimes, and had a lot to talk about like Japanese. A lot of
culture. Satire about Japanese culture, yes.
Yeah, and this is definitely not that. It's a lot lighter in its humor, and like there's one in particular where Kakushi tells Hime that they live in an area of town that has a lot of oshapi, which is like a sort of slang term for like, not hipsters exactly. The subs that I saw translated as fancy peeps, because it's like a slang term.
Okay.
But they misunderstand and think that it's like a monster.
Okay.
And go searching for its lair, and they find a Starbucks, and they're like, "This is where it lives." And there's all this, it's just it's a lot lighter. I say, but then
it sounded lighter based on the description. Yeah,
definitely, yeah. But that's not to say that it is without its, as like Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei would get like weirdly dark sometimes. Kakushigoto has some hidden, extremely emotional content. Not that hidden, but,
okay.
Because the parts of the show that are about Kakushi like trying to stop Hime from finding out that he draws dirty manga, dirty joke manga, are bookended by segments of Hime, now 18, having successfully, like Kakushi successfully kept the secret of what he did from her, and now she's 18 and she has the keys to his studio and is going to it and going through his stuff and figuring out what he actually did for a living. But in those flash forwards, Kakushi is conspicuously missing.
Okay.
And that becomes clearer over time about what's going on and why, and etc. And it gets. There are episodes that are, emotionally intense. We'll say a lot more than I expected from this sort of very light slice of life comedy.
Okay.
It's got a lot of surprises. We'll say.
Well, I mean, it sounds interesting, and you and I can both vouch for Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. So
yeah, Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei is great.
I might have to check that out myself.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Anyway, so those are our lesser shows for this time. And as I said, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we'll have seen Kiniro Mosaic. back again. But before we talk about Kiniro Mosaic, we have an important special segment. Isn't that right, Nathaniel?
Absolutely. And this was a fun one, honestly.
Yeah. So we made good on our word, and we went camping exactly like in Yuru Camp. And it was a good time. And here's a live report from the scene right now. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. And here we are, a special segment. 3D guys doing 2D things out here in the woods at our campsite. Nathaniel, you're sitting in front of me. You can't just nod. You have to say something.
Yep, here we are, at beautiful Sleeping Bear Dunes.
Yeah, don't dox us.
Oh yeah, my bad.
No. I mean, we drove a while to get here, so we're fine. And also nobody listens. So, we've been recreating the Yuru Camp experience. We climbed our very own Fujisan, which was just a big dune. Set up camp. That was a lot like Yuru Camp. We listened to the Yuru Camp soundtrack.
Sure did.
And made one of the dishes from the show, specifically Reen's one pot soup style pasta that we made in multiple pots, so it was a lie.
But yeah, I've honestly been having a lot of fun out here.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
A lot more fun than I remember having camping as a kid.
I mean, I think it's because when you're a kid, you don't really get to choose what you're doing is the problem,
right.
You know? Which I guess is like the fact that in Yuru Camp itself, that Reen preferred to go like solo camping, I think, because she just got to do whatever. And I think while we're not, solo camping, we still are just like doing whatever instead of, parents, or in my case, I don't think I ever went camping with like just my parents, except I went camping with my dad once, but then like the rest of it was all with the Boy Scouts.
Right.
And having just like a pack of weird adults that you don't care about being like, all right, and now we're going to learn how to do this. And I'm like, can't I just like read or something? Can I do anything else? But no. And I think that really contributes a lot to the camping experience.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Mm.
And I don't know, that where we are right now, it's a lot of beautiful, beautiful scenery.
Yeah, that really helps.
Not quite Fujisan.
No, it's not Fujisan. So
we'll
really
Photoshop that in later.
Yeah, we're gonna draw it in on all of our photos, even the ones where it doesn't make any sense. Like, we'll just photo of a campfire, and then we'll draw Fujisan next to it. That would make sense.
But yeah, and the recipe that we followed, the soup-like pasta, turned out delicious. They say that hunger is the best spice, and it certainly applies here. But
also it was just good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised at how good it was, especially because I was chopping all the various vegetables and the bacon and stuff, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. There seems like but it ended up being perfect, honestly. So, should I shout out the people, the person? I got the recipe from a blog called Itadakimasu Anime. So
yeah, a blog that does all sorts of recipes of food from anime, including this one, a couple of recipes.
Yeah, there was another one that was like the borscht that Reen eats. Yeah,
but that was at a restaurant. This is camping food right here.
Hell yeah, it is. We made it the most camping ass way you can. So yeah, it's good. Like, I like it. Anyway, I think the part about camping that people don't look forward to the most is still ahead of us. The actual, like, sleeping in a tent is the thing.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't think it'll be that bad.
We went for a nice long walk and climb up the dune earlier.
Yeah, it was pretty tiring.
So, yeah, I think we tuckered ourselves out enough to get a good night's sleep out here in the woods.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty surprised at how I was like, oh man, that's right. I don't really do anything outside.
I'm so out of shape, man.
That's the problem with staying inside and watching a bunch of anime.
You fucker should have seen me in high school, man.
I feel like in high school, you might have been better at climbing. I think I was roughly the same. I haven't changed all that much. Honestly, I think I'm on my feet more now than I was in high school because of work, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Still, climbing dunes kind of hard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I had a good time though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got some beautiful pictures.
Yeah. Got to look out across the lake.
Lost a flashlight on the beach, which hopefully I'll be able to find tomorrow when it's light again.
I don't know. I think you're fucked, man. Honestly.
I'm probably right. I was looking for the flashlight in the dark with using my cell phone as a flashlight, and like, gee, I sure wish I had a flashlight right now.
Yeah. But funny how that works out. Man. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna find it. But overall, if you had to compare every portion of 3D camping to 2D camping, what do you think? How does it hold up? Is 3D as good as 2D?
I would say it's pretty close in this scenario.
Honestly, yeah. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy this on as much as I am so far.
Same.
Yeah, I kind of expected to like come back on this segment and be like, it fucking blew dick. I was cold. The food was the worst.
Well, we're also benefiting from some unseasonably warm weather.
Yeah.
During our cold weather camping trip.
Yeah,
So.
which is weird because like maybe 2 days ago, it was cold. Like it was snowing. Yeah, and that was because when that happened, I was like, oh shit, it is going to be like worse weather conditions than the show, where it was like, you know, cold but no like snow or anything like that. It's not called like freezing camping. It's called laid back camp. So, but yeah, it's pretty nice out. I brought fucking long johns, and I don't think I'll change into them because I think that'll probably be too hot between that and the sleeping bag.
Right.
So, yeah, it's nice. But I don't know if I'm gonna do this on a regular basis. Is the thing. It feels like an interesting experience to go out and have, but I'm not gonna be like, next weekend be like Nadeshiko and be like, it's time to go camping. We gotta go camping. Let's go.
Well, she's more enthusiastic about life in general than I am.
Yeah, that's true.
I would definitely come out and do it again, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I would do it again, yeah. But I don't know if we're gonna have time before it gets like super cold.
Right.
And I don't think I'll want to do it again in like the next, even if it was warm.
Right.
I feel like it'll probably be maybe a year before I do this sort of thing again. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. If the mood strikes me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not ready to join the outdoors club or anything.
Yeah, especially because they're shitty club room. Have you seen it? It's terrible.
That is such a great gag.
Yeah. I know I said this in the last episode, but I really hope that in season 2 in winter, which is coming up, that they don't get a better club room.
Yeah, my hope is that they continue to expand their membership, but they don't get a better club room to the point where they have to start stacking new members like cordwood.
I don't know about that. That seems a little too much. I'd have to speculate that if like Rian joins as a member, that they will be denied a better club room because of their sensei's incompetence, like she's drunk at work or something. That's just my speculation. We'll see. I haven't read the manga or anything. If that happens to be exactly correct,
We can hope.
we can only hope. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add about this fucking 3D pig disgusting experience?
No, I think that we're about ready to make some s'mores here.
Hell yeah, we are.
So
I love s'mores, dude.
So yeah, I think we're done here.
Yeah. I think
So,
we're done. All
Let's
that's
head
left.
back to the regular show.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Kiniro Mosaic. I probably threw to this, and then we'll throw back to it. So, yeah. And now that you've heard our report about real ass camping, it's time to talk about Kiniro Mosaic. All right, and so that's our Yuru Camp segment. Now let's get down to talk about Kiniro Mosaic. What did you think about Kiniro Mosaic, Nathaniel?
Oh, I liked it pretty well.
Yeah,
just a fun, chill show.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was like revolutionary. You know, it was.
Certainly
it
not.
was fine.
It was a base pretty standard 4-coma adaptation, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. It a lot of times felt a lot like a 4-coma, where it's like sometimes they feel a little more contiguous, but this was like very clear, like segments.
The 4-coma roots were very evident in this show. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, not that that's a negative. It was good. It's just a different way of making a show, I guess. I will say though that separate from the rest of the show, the first episode I think is just like an interesting, like self-contained almost.
Yeah,
little thing.
Definitely. At the start when it shows how Shinobu and Alice met when Shinobu went to England as a foreign exchange student. And honestly, you could have made a show out of just that plot line, I feel like, too.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And I'm surprised that I would have thought that maybe, well, I guess because she went home like immediately, and also they couldn't really communicate other than saying hello.
And I do have to say it was pretty amusing. This came up occasionally in the rest of the show, but it was basically the entire first episode. These folks are English. They're supposed to be native English speakers. And,
right.
And I will say, this is some of the best English that I've heard in an anime, because
it's
usually it's
like,
pretty bad. But
yeah,
it's
definitely.
very evident that it wasn't voiced by native speakers.
Yeah, it's pretty heavily accented, but I guess at least I want to. This might be completely wrong, but I want to say that like the voice actress for Karen is actually like has an amount of like conversational English that she knows. So while she does have a very evident accent, it's like, you know, they do have like English conversations in the show.
Yeah, it's all done fluently.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's definitely as you said, the best English I've heard in an anime that wasn't. I'm sure that I feel like there is some anime that I watched where there was just like a who was clearly like an American person who was playing a foreigner who's just like, hello, I need to get to the station, and then somebody's like, oh no, a foreigner, but I can't remember. But yeah, it's an interesting element, and you know, as you said, there's a lot of bits in the episode that are based off of like, Alice is English.
Yeah, it's definitely a strong fish out of water element to the show between Alice and Karen.
Yeah. Although that said, like, I think it's interesting that Alice is basically like, she's basically a weeb, right? Like she loves Japan.
That's fair to say, yes.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that whenever they're shown eating breakfast, that that Alice is eating like a Japanese breakfast, and then Shinobu is eating like a Western breakfast.
Oh, geez, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might have been making that up, but I'm pretty sure because it's like, yeah, because Shinobu is having like toast and like I think eggs, something like that, but Alice is eating like I think she was mixing up like natto or something, but yeah, like very specifically Japanese foods.
Right.
Shinobu's sort of obsession with blondes is always very funny as well.
Oh yes.
But I don't know. I feel like each maybe this is just because it's a Yankama, but each like character only really had like not too much. They only had like one joke associated with them essentially.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they could have been a little more developed, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Mm-hmm. The art's really good though. I like all the character designs.
And
how everybody's drawn, but especially.
It was an interesting art style. All the characters had very thin limbs, not nearly to the extent of, say, a clamp work, but
no.
But it was an interesting design decision on their part, and I think that it worked for the show.
Yeah, I think so. But it's interesting because I find a lot of. I was comparing it a lot to like the first episode, which is like very different from the rest of the show. Again, how like there's a lot of like really like sort of lush English backgrounds and stuff in that first episode that aren't really present in the rest of it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd say so. But well, I mean, it was the setting of the English countryside versus a more urban center in Japan. So
yeah. Well, what else do you have to say about Kiniro Mosaic?
Well, one thing that I will say is I'm fairly certain that a lot of the humor went over my head because, as I mentioned earlier, there is the strong fish out of water element to it, and specifically, I would say that one of Karen's character traits is that she speaks kind of broken non-fluent Japanese. And if I pay attention, I can kind of pick up on that. But as someone who doesn't speak Japanese, it's really easy to miss that aspect of her character.
Yeah, although they do make it like fairly, like they do mention it a lot, and there's that sort of joke. I mean, they don't mention it a lot, but there's that sort of joke where, like, her Ohayo gozaimasu or whatever, her, like, weird mispronunciation of good morning, like, kind of spreads around the school because they think it's funny. So, you know, but yeah, I'd agree that that's kind of the only specific, like, example of that, of her, like, broken Japanese that I know. Because that's the only one that's like pointed out, but I'm sure she does it all the time, and we just aren't sure.
Yeah, so Japanese people, I'm glad that our gaijin struggles are so fucking hilarious to you.
Yeah, come on, it's difficult, okay? It's a tough language.
Why Japanese people?
That guy. I forget what that comedian's name is. Isn't it? His name is like Jason, but he has like a...
Yes.
It's like thickly sliced Jason or something like that. Anyway, yeah, he's got a joke about going, why Japanese people? Man, that we saw it in a commercial first, and then when we learned that he was a comedian, then that was his catchphrase, that became much less funny than just like a guy leaping out and screaming.
Yes.
That really sucked. I was like, oh man, it's like a whole thing. It was so much funnier when it's just a guy leaping out from a bus and yelling, "Why Japanese people?"
But I mean, honestly, all credit to that guy for managing to break onto the Japanese comedy circuit as a gaigokujin. That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, and it's not like. You know, he is very clearly because he's like super tall and blonde and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe they sort of see him as a novelty, as Japan is wont to do. I don't know. I can't speak for Japanese people. Why Japanese people?
Yeah, I do think that he just has the one joke, but even with that, it's impressive. I'd say.
Yeah. It's not easy to do. There we go.
Right.
Anyway, we're getting off track. This isn't about Kiniro Mosaic.
Yes.
He's blonde, though, and that's important in Kiniro Mosaic.
Yes, because Shinobu has some sort of blonde fetish that comes up repeatedly and is an amusing aspect of the show.
Yeah, she really loves blonde people. Kinpatsu, as they say.
Yeah, and speaking of fetishes, I'd say that this show also has a light to moderate current of Yuri running throughout it, for those who are into that.
Light to moderate, I feel like it is. I mean, I guess they never actually go out and say it. So yeah, I guess moderate is the closest I would get. But it's pretty clear that both, like, Alice, the reason that Alice is so clingy to Shinobu is for Yuri reasons, and the reason that Aya is so, particularly tsundere towards Yoko. That's her name. Is right. For that same Yuri reason.
I would argue that Aya and Yoko are more clearly Yuri.
Yeah.
Whereas Alice, Karen, and Shinobu have more of a platonic love triangle going on.
Yeah, I guess. But I feel like Shinobu doesn't really care either way, it feels like.
Right.
And
yeah, that's one of the constant sources of comedy is how oblivious she is to what's going on with Alice and Karen.
Yeah. How, like, Karen is repeatedly, or Shinobu is repeatedly, like, being like, oh, Karen is doing cool stuff, and then Alice is like, I could do that too.
Yeah, it's cute. Alice tries so hard.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, that repeated joke did become a little tiresome to me by the end, because they do lean on it a lot. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's just me.
Right. Gotcha.
I wanted it to open up a little bit more. So, also one thing I did notice, this isn't about Karen or Alice or Shinobu, but about Aya. In the second episode, they're like, oh, sometimes she can be kind of an airhead, and they mention that, and she was like, oh no, I forgot my tights, and then it's literally never brought up again. Like
now that you mention it, yeah,
they say it at the beginning, and then that's just not a part of her character for the rest of the show.
Yeah, that was a thread of character development that they never really tugged on after that.
Yeah, after like that first kind of mention of it, but yeah, the rest of her character is just sort of taken up with being tsundere for Yoko. What else about Kiniro Mosaic do we want to mention, or did we want to move on to another segment?
I think I'm ready to move on, personally.
All right. Let's move on. Do we want to go to the opening segment or the Best Girl Olympics first?
Opening segment.
Okay, let's go to the opening segment, which is, of course, the segment where we talk about the opening and the ending, but that's not as catchy. How did you feel about the opening?
Is that how you feel? Okay.
No. I mean, a catchy of a name for the segment, not the...
Right. No. Okay, because I was about to say that this is one of the relatively rare shows where I feel that the ending is clearly stronger than the opening.
I would agree, yeah. I thought the opening was not... I mean, it's fine, but it wasn't anything special. I was just like, okay, sure, whatever. But I did enjoy it.
It had some nice counterpoint from the horn synths.
Yeah, I like that.
But that's about the only thing that really stood out to me in the opening.
Yeah, and it's like,
whereas the ending, the song is really, really catchy. It's a big band style of song that kind of reminds me of the theme from Super Mario Odyssey. Honestly.
Oh yeah. Actually, I could hear that. The Jump Up Superstar?
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that.
And the animation I also liked a lot. They had characters singing along with the song, which is always a plus in my book.
Yeah, it's always fun. But yeah, I definitely thought that the ending was stronger. Which I was, yeah, like you said, it's very rare that happens. Usually it's the ending is kind of more of an afterthought.
Right.
I guess because people skip it.
Right. Well, and the opening is designed to catch people's attention, so they usually blow their load on that one.
Yeah, as they say. But yeah, I didn't think the opening like animation had anything interesting in it either.
No, not particularly.
No, it was.
So I think that
pretty...
the ending is the clear winner in this case, and
yeah,
it's a really good song, very catchy.
Yeah, I
liked it.
a
lot of love with the big band style, but with the ultra processed vocals. Mm-hmm. So more of a, I don't know, a neo big band style, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. Although I don't know if neo big band is really a thing. At least I hope it's not.
Swing revival. There we go.
Oh God. I mean, it's not electro swing, I guess.
Hey, you talking shit about electro swing now?
Are we gonna get into a fight about electro swing here?
I mean, I don't feel that passionate about it, so probably not.
No, no. This is now your one character trait. If there was a Yonko manga about us, your one character trait is now that you love electro swing.
Okay, fine. I would die for electro swing.
Man, I would read a manga about an anime girl who's really into electro swing.
I will never turn my back on electro swing.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I feel like big band is not really a genre that anime touches on a lot. You know?
Yeah.
They should do that more often. Jazz and shit. Get to it, anime. I know you listen to this podcast.
Alright, so now that we've laid down our edict, hopefully the Japanese will get the message and do exclusively big band endings from this point.
Yeah, come on. It'd be way better. Alright. Anything else you want to say about the opening before we move on to the Best Girl Olympics?
No, not about the opening.
Or the ending.
Or the ending.
Okay. Then let's move on to the Best Girl Olympics. Who do you think is the best girl in the show?
For me, the answer is pretty clear. I don't think it's particularly close for me. It's Karen.
Yeah, I don't think that... this is, again, a show where I don't think there is going to be a lot of debate here.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's a lot... there's just so many things to like about her character. The ridiculous Union Jack sweater that she wears all the time.
I fucking love that sweater, dude. Like, I want it.
That's like the British equivalent of, imagine like an obnoxious American tourist going around with an American flag t-shirt everywhere. Then imagine that instead of being a tourist, you're just living in Japan.
And always wearing an American flag shirt. Yeah. Yeah, like, and also they make a point of saying, like, you're not supposed to wear that with our uniform.
Right. But she cares not.
Yeah, she doesn't care, or maybe she just doesn't understand, because she is a gaijin.
And honestly, I think the writer probably liked her character the best, too, because she seems to get all of the best gags in this show.
Yeah, she kind of steals the spotlight as soon as she shows up.
Yeah, I mean, there's in episode 7 where she has a sign around her neck that says, "Please do not feed the Karen," when she's going on a diet. There's in episode 10, there was a whole sequence where she started chasing a cat down an alleyway. got so involved in the chase that she ended up getting lost.
That's right.
Then she called Shinobu to ask for directions, but then she got so swept up in telling Shinobu about the cat that she just found that she forgot to ask for directions and then just hung up. And Shinobu,
she was like, "Oh yeah."
And Shinobu took it in stride too. She was like, "Oh yeah, I guess Karen just called me to tell her about this cat she found."
It's like, yeah, that seems like something Karen would do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she really she sets herself up as being like a really good character from like the first thing she does. Right after she sees Alice and is like, "Oh, Alice," and then Alice says to Karen, "What brings you to Japan?" And then she holds her arms out and goes, like pretending to be a plane. And then Alice is like,
man,
not what literally brings you to Japan. Why are you here?"
That was a popular animation sequence when it was airing. I remember there were some good gifs that came out of that. One of her doing the airplane gesture.
But it's just like by itself, it's such a good like setup for Karen, you know, and her whole like character energy. It really works. And it sucks that I have to put up something against Karen.
Her facial expressions are the best. They do so many gags of where it's zooming into her face, and there's some great facial expressions to be found there as well.
Definitely, yeah. I feel like there's some good Karen reaction images that you could mine.
In the episode 12 where she became a chunibyo randomly after reading a single volume of a manga.
That's right, I forgot about that. Oh man, yeah. Karen's a good character. Here, before we get too much more into gushing about Karen, let me put up a token resistance.
All right, let's hear it.
I feel like if you put up anybody against the force that is Karen, it has to be Alice.
Okay.
Alice has a lot going for her. She's nice. She likes Japan, so that's something. She's very small. She gets compared to like a rabbit or a hamster a lot, which I think is very funny.
Yes.
Especially, yes. I like that their teacher even named her rabbit Alice after Alice. I thought that was funny. And
she also can get sucked into Karen's madness on occasion.
Yeah, she does.
Like
do that,
in episode 9, where they both cracked eggs on their face because they forgot that the guy they saw doing it on television was using hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, they just have like raw egg in their hair. Yeah. But the problem with Alice is that she really likes Shinobu.
She really, really, really does.
Yeah, she really... And also, one thing also about Alice is there's a part where she has like that little like doll thing of the Japanese woman, and is like everyone is like, it looks like Shinobu, and everybody's like, I don't know about that. It's like, is that racist? Is that Alice being like, all Japanese people look like this? And I was like, weird. I guess it made sense when she was a child, but like,
right.
But she also did it when she was like a teenager, so I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. Anyway, but yeah, she really loves Shinobu. So I don't know. I feel like you're gonna be talking about Shinobu a lot if you're hanging out with Alice.
True.
So, and I don't know if I just have that sort of energy to be talking about blonde people that often if Shinobu's going to be around. But Karen seems fun, and I mean, right, pretty intense and kind of a dummy, but that's always fun. And
okay,
also,
so that was an easy one this week. Oh, go ahead.
I could steal her fucking sweater.
And isn't that what it's really all about in the end?
I mean, it is. I really want it. It's cool. I like it. Anyway, so Karen wins. That was not even like an argument. But now a harder argument, because once again, we seem to have a type, I guess, because we have chosen particularly similar characters between Karen and Nadeshiko from Yuri Camp, who is that same, like, sort of, like, super energetic and, like, almost chaotic sort of character, just going around marching to the beat of her own drum, and not really caring about what other people are doing. I feel like they're pretty similar in that way.
That's true.
Yeah, so we've kind of backed ourselves into a corner here.
Boy. Well, for me personally, I would say that Eurocamp is a much more laid-back show in general. So
it's in the name.
That kind of manic, that kind of manic energy that both of these characters represent. I feel like Nadeshiko doesn't have quite the same opportunity to shine.
Yeah, that's true. She's because largely her energy going around doing stuff gets tempered by the show being so, like, chill, you know?
Yeah. The only gag I can think of offhand that is on that same level of energy is where she runs into the plate glass window like a bird.
That's right, yeah.
But other than that, I feel like this show, Kiniro Mosaic, gives Karen more of a showcase.
Yeah, this type of character...
To the point where she's stealing scenes from everyone else, basically.
Yeah, this type of character works a lot more in, like, the Yonkoma style, sort of like one quick gag and then get out kind of format, where, you know, Yuru Camp is a lot more, like, stretched out, because they're showing something specific, you know, camping.
Yeah.
It's not just, like, character-based comedy, which, yeah, does give Karen a lot more chances to be funny.
Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna vote for Karen.
That's I do, you know,
it's a gut-wrenching choice. Don't get me wrong.
It is hard, because, I mean, they are like characters, like two peas in a pod. They're of the same ilk. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you that I think Karen Kujo is our winner of the Best Girl Olympics this time.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
sorry, Nadeshiko.
We didn't have to fight each other to the death this time. That's cool.
Also, didn't last time when we named Nadeshiko as the winner, that we were like, it's gonna be hard to unseat her. And then she just immediately gets unseated by Karen.
Sorry, Nadeshiko. Better luck next time.
Yeah. It's hard to compete with a sort of spotlight stealer like Karen, because, yeah, she does kind of take over the whole show.
Right.
And honestly, when I was thinking back about the little that I had watched of Kiniro Mosaic before we got into it, I more or less did not think of any bits that had Alice in it at all. I was just thinking about Karen. So do we have anything else to say about the show before we wrap it up?
I think just our final summary.
Yeah. So what do you say you'd give Kiniro Mosaic out of 5 stars?
I would give it 3 stars out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. It's solid, pretty middle of the road.
It's not a bad show at all. I would recommend it if you like this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't good enough to stand out among the genre.
Yeah.
And as we were discussing with Karen essentially stealing the spotlight, I feel like some of the other characters shined a little less for it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I just think they largely didn't get a whole lot of stuff to do that wasn't their one joke, like I said, you know? Like, I find it hard to say much of anything about Yoko and Aya specifically that isn't their sort of interaction with each other. And outside of that, I don't know a whole lot about their character, really.
Yeah, and
especially
in fairness to the show, I think this is one of those shows where there's almost certainly some Japanese cultural stuff going on that's going over my head.
Yeah, there's
With
probably
the whole,
something we're
with the whole
missing.
fish out of water setup.
But but we have to judge it on what we know, not what we can interpret.
Right.
If you wait, that didn't make any sense. Whatever. We're gonna watch it through our lens because this is what this goddamn podcast is about.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, 3 stars from me.
3
How
stars,
about you?
3 stars from me as well. Like you said, it's
Okay.
it's solid, but nothing particularly special. I feel like I'm gonna forget about it.
Right.
It'll be one of those shows that somebody's like Kiniro Mosaic, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that one.
Uh-huh.
It
I'm
feels.
certain I'll remember it fondly, but
Yeah. When I do remember it, it will be. I'll be saying, oh yeah, I like that show, but it won't be like one that I think about a lot.
Right.
Like I'm trying to think of it sort of. I mean, like a K-On!, I guess, is the prime
Right.
example. But I mean, we all can't be K-On!, I guess.
yeah. Listeners, we'll have to get to K-On! At some point because we both have some pretty strong feelings about that show.
Yeah, I feel like that has to be like a special episode,
Uh-huh.
Because it's hard to fuck with K-On!, and also I feel like K-On! Shouldn't go into the Best Girl Olympics. Because
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
because
fair.
if that happens, then that segment is over. Then we're just fucked. Because then there's no way we would ever get you to argue against Yui. Like she would just win all the time.
It would severely disrupt the whole concept of the segment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess after that, it would all just be going for the silver medal. Yui already's won. Anyway, that's not important.
Kiniro Mosaic wouldn't go out of my way to highly recommend it, but pretty good show.
Yeah, not bad. All right, with that out of the way, the next week we're going to be doing Ikamusume, Squid Girl, as it's known in America. An anime that we are both very familiar with.
And one of multiple anime about an alien invader who comes to Earth and then immediately gets enslaved by the humans.
Well, yeah. I was about to dispute that, but no, you're right.
It just cracks me up how similar these very specific premises are between Squid Girl and Sergeant Frog.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say that. I don't think it's pretty clear that I think Ikamusume was probably influenced at least a little bit by Sergeant Frog, because they are the same plot. Anyway, but yeah, we'll talk about that on the next episode when we pour out our fucking feelings about Ikamusume and how good it is. Spoilers. All right. But that's all for this time. And until next episode, thank you for doing your part to save anime.